Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ban with Ban Unboxed, or I mean, Ban's Hands. And today we're going to be taking a look at, well, first unboxing of the Anbernic RG CubeXX. A mouthful of a name? Maybe. A good device? Also maybe. As you can see, it also came with the case. Nothing too fancy. It's kind of just the standard Anbernic fare, but it's good to know they have it as an option. They even changed the embossing of the stick and the D-pad. While I kind of get the box open, I just kind of want to let you know the CubeXX was sent over from Anbernic directly. Just kind of looking over it. Pretty bog standard Anbernic box. Comes in 3 colors: black, white, gray. I call it the DMG one. In case you're curious, this will be going live October 22nd. It'll be hitting at 6 p.m. Beijing time, which is like 2 to 4 a.m. sometime in the States. It'll be $59.99 for the first 72 hours, and then after that, it'll be $66.99. Right in the box, right away, you get the handheld. You get the classic, the Anbernic style manual, which, I mean, it tells you everything you need to know. That's kind of useful. Even tells you what's going on when you're charging it. I know that right in here is your USB-C to USB-A cable. There we go. Whoop. Have the nice little white model. You're getting the standard Anbernic fare with their XX line. You'll be looking at an all-winner H700 that's paired with 1 gig of RAM, as well as a Mali G31 MP2 GPU. As always, the screen is 4 inches, though they call it, I think, 3.95. It's 720 by 720, just like every other Square device that you can find. So that just kind of means, for me at least, this is going to be like premier Pico 8 handheld. Also, if you haven't noticed, it's a cube. It's going to look pretty similar to the original RG Cube. Going around the sides, on the bottom, looks like you have 2 speakers, micro SD card 1, micro SD card 2, headphone jack. There's actually nothing in this one, which means this is actually a device that has no ROMs on it currently. Around the side, nothing. Around the other side, nothing. On the back, nothing. On the top, power, volume down, volume up, USB-C for charging, a reset button, and the classic mini HDMI. When it comes to controls, you kind of get your menu button. Your select and start is actually 1 button less than the original Cube. On top, you have the usual L and R triggers, but unlike the Cube, which is analog, the Cube, it's all digital back here, and then these are digital as well. These actually don't have as much of a click to them as the original RG Cube, which, depending on if you like clicky buttons, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. On the front, you got 2 of the older style joysticks. So these are the Nintendo Switch style ones. I wish they were like the Retroid style sticks that we saw on the RG 406V, but on an H700 device, it's a little bit cheaper. I can somewhat forgive it, even if I don't want to. But up top, you got A, B, X, Y. Pretty much standard Anbernic fare at this point. But then on the left, you get this little dish-style D-pad, which kind of giving it a feel. It does feel a little bit different than the RG Cube. It feels like it has less of a pronounced thunk to it, which, depending, it's personal preference, but it's nothing ever bad. Since there's no SD card in here, I always keep a on-branded micro SD card with me. Just like with every other Anbernic device, as of recent, it's got the RGB sticks here. You've kind of got the stock Anbernic operating system. Game ROMs, RA Game, App Center favorites, history, search, settings, so on and so forth. What is nice is that, honestly, if you're just trying to get started, the stock OS is fine. You probably will want to make some adjustments, but it's not terrible. And always, settings, they have a whole bunch of things in here. You can change the lighting effects, double joystick chasing light, simulator phantom, breathing light slow, breathing light medium speed, breathing light fast, and always mode. As a man who loves my green, I'm actually just going to leave this like this the rest of the time. As always, make sure you turn the button sounds off, because otherwise... Oh, there it is. And off you go again. Since it's an H700, you kind of know what it's going to play. It's in the same tier as like the 3566. So you're going to get pretty much solid up to PlayStation 1. And after that, it's going to kind of teeter off as you go into N64, Dreamcast, PSP. Personally, I don't call those fully playable. I call them, if you get the game that you want running on here, it's just an added benefit at that point. It's all gravy. I always like to test D-pads with Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, comes with a nice little overlay. Now, personally, you might want to turn it off just so you can get a little bit more of that screen real estate. Speakers aren't too bad either. Though, I mean, at this point, can you really blame them? I can get behind that. I'll leave the overlay on just for the kind of game testing, but D-pad seems to work well. It feels a little bit better than the one on the original RG Cube. Though, to be fair, it felt like that one was not as good as it could have been. But overall, I mean, it feels pretty nice in hand. I mean, it's a cube. I like the grips on the back, though I'm not sure about this little rubber bit here. It's a cube. It's an H700 cube. And once you get other operating systems like Noli, MuOS, MinUI on these things, you'll probably have a better experience. I'm not a big fan of the stock OS, but there's nothing wrong with it. When it comes to other options, if you're looking for the H700, you've got basically every other form factor under the sun. And of the bunch, I think my favorite H700 is the RG 35XX SP, but this one might come close. But when it comes to square screen devices, your three biggest competitors are really just going to be the RGB30, the Anbernic RG Cube, and the RGB20SX. You could go for something like a Unicorn. I wouldn't recommend going for something like an R40S, and I wouldn't really recommend something like the Retro Pixel Pocket. At this point, it's a bit out of date. If you're looking for a low power, inexpensive 1x1 screen, honestly, this might be the move for it. Let's kind of recap here. Square screen, H700, Anbernic build quality, so it's not bad. It's probably not going to get too warm considering it's got that thick body, though I mean, it's lost the cooling fan of the Android version. I definitely recommend either checking out Zoo's video on it or waiting to hear Stubbs' full in-depth review on the situation. Or you can go over to the retrohandhelds.gg website and you can check out, I'll be doing a first impressions on it. You'll definitely be able to find someone doing a review on it. As always, be sure to check out the link below for articles, where to buy, any other information you can find, as well as the social medias for Retro Handhelds. And as always, thanks so much for watching.